I'm starting to remember my childhood more and more. The more I heal, the more the nostalgia is very present. And, it's like in my mind, there are images and stuff. And it's just bringing me back to different times earlier on in my life. Healing is so fascinating. It really is. The opportunity to introspect, to go within yourself, to see yourself more clearly, right? Our parents, they really projected a lot of their shit onto us, you know. And when that happens, it can be really challenging for a person to see themselves clearly, to know themselves clearly, right? This is one of the biggest reasons why individuation itself is so important, because healing is not just a returning to authenticity of the self. It's also ridding the self of everything that is not the self, right? The process of just chipping away, right? Just like looking at yourself. Oh, that's not me. Oh, that's not me. All of that, right? And there's a lot that is not of the self, that the self kind of just takes on over time, right? Because the self may not have boundaries. But it's also really cool because I look at boundaries, and with everything that I've learned in regards to boundaries, in regards to individuals and the self, boundaries are something that are actually very natural for people, right? That little id that is like, no, right? It's trying to set the fucking record straight, right? And then parents and society, not always coming from a bad place, right? They set up all these rules for people, and it creates a lot of obstacles for that id, right? Pulling a person away from themselves. People, they naturally know what they want and need, right? They know how to do the no, right? They know how to do that. And then they're pulled away from that. Well, you're going to listen to me, little boy. No. Now, don't get me wrong. There are cases when it's necessary, You don't want a kid running out into traffic, right? But there are also cases that, it's, you're pulling a person away from themselves. And it's heartbreaking to watch, too. The marring, the scathing, it's fucking intense and heartbreaking to watch. It really is. I used to be kind of like confused as to why I was depressed when I was, right? I know why now. I'm not going to share that in this video. Boundaries. But, as I watch these things happen to other people and everything, I'm very observant and everything. Doing the best that I can to heal from, being empathic is a tool, a superpower that I will always be able to utilize, right? I can turn it on and off whenever I want to. Turning it off is a bit more challenging. It kind of just like randomly and naturally gets activated whenever, It's kind of like spidey senses. Something's happening and I'm like, ooh. Right? It's kind of like, it kind of turns on all of a sudden. Sometimes I have to just tell it, it's okay. You are enjoying an evening out. Relax. Sip that delicious fucking wine. And just chill. And yeah, the more I heal, the more I see myself, the more I know myself, the more I know what it is that I like. And that's cool. It's really cool to be able to, I guess the right word to say is to reground with the self, right? Because initially, I mean, of course, earlier on in childhood, you don't really know anything. You don't really know yourself. You're learning about yourself. And if you're lucky, you're born into a family system that allows for healthy individuation and differentiation. Otherwise, you're probably just like parentified and you're made out to do shit that's just not age appropriate and stuff, and that's when the trauma happens. Right? So, and not all family systems are like that. But it's like I see healthy people. I see people that are healthy, safe, and stable. And I see that they have healthy boundaries, right? You either have healthy boundaries or you have permeable and rigid boundaries, right? Permeable is people can reach right inside. Rigid is just, it's too much. It's unattractive. It's like, okay, so you're not going to let anyone in at all. Alrighty. And yeah, the more I heal, the more I just, recognize what it all means. And it's cool. I've done a lot of work of, the painful shit. Sifting through the shit. I've sifting through and finding the landmines and being like, oh god. Now I'm enjoying tears of joy. It's cool. It really is cool. Healing's a very interesting journey. It really is. It really is. I'm excited to be here, and it only gets better from here. I want to talk about one last thing before I stop the video here. I'm noticing right now that my present self is having conversations with my 10 years older self, and also conversations with my 10 years ago self. So when I was 23, now that I'm 33, and then when I'm 43 again. No, when I will be 43. What I'm noticing is very interesting. When I was 23, I made decisions that impacted me at 33, obviously, right? But I could have made a different decision that would have completely changed the course of me here now at 33, which again would also have changed the course at 43, right? So it's very fascinating when you look at decisions, right? This is not to be taken lightly. I'm not looking to give anyone anxiety or anything, or make anyone, have depression. I don't think I can really do that. But the gravity that comes with decisions is very real. Knowing exactly why a person is doing what they're doing is real, There are consequences that come with decisions, right? So something that I did at 23 completely transformed my life at 33 now. And also at 43. So something at 23 impacted 43. Because that decision that I made back then at 23 impacted where I am now. If I didn't make that decision back then at 23, I wouldn't be where I am at 33. Right? And then so on and so forth, 43. And then so on and so forth, 53. And so on and so forth, 63. That's just how it goes, right? So the conversation's kind of like, I'm looking at my 43-year-old self, looking back at my 23-year-old self. There's some bravo in place, right? And now I'm just really sitting down with both of them and being like, all right, well, what sucked back then? What's great now? What can we do better moving forward? These conversations are awesome.